It's a beautiful day today and we're back reading some more stories about Kevin. Stories about people being very, very stupid, and I'm so excited. I felt like it was about time we made a video that was pretty much entirely wholesome and not about terrifying content for a day. So yeah, that's the plan for today and I hope you're excited. Enjoy, guys. My friend's boyfriend is an absolute Kevin. I'll call my friend C. I love C more than anything, and I'd sell my working kidney for her, but her boyfriend Kevin, well, here you go. He's a ghetto kid with the sagging pants and loud music that you can hear through his headphones, calling everyone biatch or car. He thinks the earth's flat, and wasted class time trying to say the earth was flat during science, because if it was round, then why is the ground flat? Well, what? When watching CNN 10 with the whole North Korea and Russia stuff, he said, how do they talk to each other if they only know Japanese and German? He thought that Alexander Hamilton was a composer. C was on her period, and when she left to go to the bathroom, he said, why don't you pee now? You have a pad. He thought that bats were birds. While we were reading a book, the word Fortnite came up, and he genuinely thought that it was a reference to the game Fortnite. That's amazing. He thought Mexico was in Canada. He is Mexican. That's all I got for now. Not exactly a story, but more of a list. Edit. Okay, there's more. He thinks that gumbo is made of actual gum, and he thinks that all planets are rocks. Wow, what a beautiful way to start the episode. Yeah, like this comment says, I love this Kevin. I don't think I could spend more than 10 minutes tops in his presence, but there's something almost charming here. I'm glad that he exists. The next one says, Kevin doesn't know that he needs to inform management of an upcoming absence. So here's a new story about my flat earth Kevin. A second flat earth Kevin. Quick background, Kevin, 60-something male, is a cashier for a retail drugstore chain, and I'm one of his supervisors. Last Tuesday, Kevin approaches the supervisor stating that he's having elective surgery next week on Wednesday and will need the next 2 weeks off, but he's scheduled to work. Why is he scheduled when he can't work? Have you informed the manager? Kevin, I'm supposed to tell the manager? How? Do I need to bring a doctor's note? Supervisor, picking her jaw up off the ground. How else is the manager supposed to know? How long ago did you schedule this surgery? Kevin, 2 months ago. Supervisor, picking her jaw up off the floor again. Why didn't you let the manager know sooner? Kevin, I didn't know that I had to inform him. Isn't that an HIPAA violation? Due to the store having a pharmacy, we all have to go through basic HIPAA training every year. It's pretty much just a reminder what it is. Supervisors, let the manager know ASAP and bring a doctor's note. Supervisor calls me into the office to explain the procedure for going on disability. I was on disability earlier this year from having a baby. I give Kevin the number that he needs to call along with the website needs to fill out a few forms. Kevin, don't I just use PTO? Me, why use PTO when you don't have to? You're entitled to disability. Kevin, I'll just use paid time off. Because Kevin gave us such short notice, we were scrambling to find coverage for the next 2 weeks. Yet really makes you wonder people's thought process with stuff like this. Like, why did you feel like you didn't need to inform anybody of this? And can you explain the reasoning as well? How did you get to this conclusion, you know? The next one is called Kevina the Sandwich Artist. Kevina's mother runs a Subway fast food franchise that my friend frequents with his partner and daughter. For reasons that are not entirely clear, teenage Kevina got kicked out of school. To help her occupy her time, Kevina is now a trainee sandwich artist at her mother's Subway franchise. My friend, his partner and daughter usually buy 1 foot long sub and ask to have it cut into thirds so they can share it. Usually that isn't a problem, but this time Kevina was serving them. She assembled the sub, doing a pretty poor job, and then cut it in half. Her mother and also supervisor told her to do it again, so Kevina assembled another sub and proceeded to cut it into quarters. At this point, my friend was covering his mouth as it gaped in disbelief. Kevina's mum explained to her that cutting the sub into quarters won't help when the customer wants to share it between 3 people. Kevina took away 1/4 of the sub and said, okay, now they can share it between 3 people. Her mum attempted to explain that a customer won't be happy if they don't get the whole sub that they paid for. We're now wondering about 2 things. Firstly, how does someone make it to their teens without understanding fractions? And secondly, was the real reason that Kevina got kicked out of school due to frustration with incredibly poor academic performance? Yeah, like I understand having a bit of a mental blank and sort of making the same mistake a couple of times, but I don't understand them taking away 1/4 of the sandwich and being like, here you go, now it's cut into 3 pieces. That's so wild, and if you were a customer and that was happening, you'd be like, what? What is going on? Are you eating 1/4 of my Subway or something? What's happening? The next one is called Kevin the Receptionist. Our Kevin was a retired gentleman who was hired as a part-time receptionist by our CEO as a favor to her friend, Kevin's wife. He was driving her nuts being around all day. Kevin took great care of the lobby where he sat, which consisted of a desk, a waiting area, and 2 elevators that went to the rest of our company. One day, someone delivering a large package came through the lobby, unknowingly dropping package material from a hole in the box, all over Kevin's lobby and one elevator. Kevin came to the HR department to borrow their brand new vacuum. About 15 minutes later, he brought it back, apologetic that he'd broken it. The power cord was pulled apart, completely severed, about 10 feet from the plug. Reader, he'd plugged the vacuum into an outlet in the elevator lobby, turned on the vacuum, and was vacuuming the inside of the elevator when he let the door close. And elevators being elevators, it headed up to the top floor, severing the cord in the process. Oh no. I shouldn't laugh, but that's so funny. And what'd be even funnier is them trying to explain how this happened. Like, yeah, so I was doing some vacuuming and I sort of forgot that I was in an elevator, and then the elevator went up and cut the cord in half. Honestly though, it's so good that nobody got hurt except the vacuum. Okay, the next one is called Kevina at work. A 30-year-old woman was hired to work at the reception at my job in Germany a month ago, and it's not going well. Some highlights: although she's a university student and previously finished a traineeship in foreign language communication, she does not understand English. It's an international company and she promised in her interview that she speaks it, yet every time someone comes down to ask a question, she looks at me afterwards and asks what they said. Sometimes during a conversation with someone, she'll just switch to German with me and excludes the English-speaking person completely. She also thinks that 5 men in the office are in love with her for 1, asking her about her plans for the weekend and asking her if we can use our printer, and 3, sending a private message to her on our internal chat asking for help with something, 4, writing a comment on a ticket at 10 p.m. even though it's 100% work related, and 5, sending her a long explanation after somebody asked a question. She keeps saying that she can sense it on their body language, even though I see the conversation, and she barely even responds to their questions and is pretty rude. She spent 5 hours of her first day trying to log in without her password. Begging her to please go to IT to get a new one in a second was to no avail. She kept saying it's very strange not being able to log in without a password. After the IT guy helped her create a new password, he is of course also in love with her because he was overly friendly. She forgot it again. She'd gotten a backup code to reset the password that we'd told her to please save, screenshot, write down in your phone, save in a Word document or whatever. She insisted that nobody ever told me anything about a code. After 9 hours at the office, she does not go home. She stays for coffee, tea, or starts eating when everybody else is leaving. Pretty sad. After being late every single day for the first 2 weeks, sometimes an hour, she went to a medium on an app and said that she can sense that somebody at work doesn't like her, and asked if it was our boss. He said yes, and she was impressed that he knew this information. She thinks that she has a special power to sense what other people think and feel because a medium in an app told her so. Once she ran into the back office where I was and asked me to come to the front where there was a delivery guy. I got to the reception and the guy looks exhausted and laughs and said that he needs a name and a signature so we can finally leave. I give him my name and sign, and she goes, I was so confused, I didn't understand what he wanted. He was speaking her mother tongue. Does she not know what's your name in her mother tongue? Let me be clear that the issue was not that she was unsure if she's allowed to sign. She said several times that she didn't understand what he wanted. The top comment, that delivery man was in love with her too, trying to get her name and all. Yeah, wow, that was amazing, and I feel like they'd be super fun to have around. Also maybe a little bit frustrating at times. I love how wholesome these stories are. The next one's called I Found a Girl Kevin and I Just Love Her. I was in school and late in the session comes this girl. She looked trashed. She slurred her words and even fell asleep during the course. I had a feeling she was someone special and she caught my attention, so I befriended her. We always say there's no stupid questions, but here she was, proving all of us wrong. For example, our teacher was trying to teach us how to create an account to use some website, and later she raised her hand asking the teacher how to remember which email address she used to create her account. She always puts up her hand to interrupt with the most pointless comment, and she has the audacity to say asking questions is a sign of intelligence. She's hilarious. She basically never had a real job because she used to sell, drugs, okay, and even did 2 years in jail. She doesn't know basic manners. She's so loud. Her laugh makes everyone uncomfortable. She even invents new swear words like shnergane. What? She always cuts people off when they speak. She changes subjects with no logical explanation whatsoever. She dates the weirdest guys, and this makes the funniest of stories. She doesn't listen to me at all when I speak, but she's so funny to listen to that it doesn't matter. To my surprise, when our class semester ended, she got a job as a cold caller and asked her boss if she could stop working at 3 p.m. because her brain shuts down in the late afternoon, aka all of us. They said she could, but had to be working later in the evening, which she couldn't since she always had some sort of trouble with her remote equipment. There's always some kind of technological problems with Kevin's, isn't there? I feel kind of bad for writing this about her, but there's absolutely no malicious intent. She's genuinely the funniest person I've ever met. I can't get over the bit about making up their own swear words. Like, what do you mean? What's the point of a word if you're the only person who knows what it is? Like, at that point, you're pretty much just making a sound. But yeah, once again, that was so fun to read. I love this subreddit. The next one is called Kevin Wants a Laptop. So to give some context, this story is from 2018. Let's call this place Half Guy. Oh, I wonder what that could mean. So Kevin was a guy that you could get along with, and he was doing his best in class. I had hung out with him a lot in my first 3 years in high school, and he shared only one class with me, but it was my favorite one. I spent a large amount of time playing games at the lunchroom table with him, along with getting him into Magic the Gathering, and I even gave him a full custom-made deck along with a deck box. He enjoyed it as well, and he was a good friend. Now onto what makes Kevin fulfill his namesake. Out of nowhere, Kevin stopped showing up to school. No one has seen him, and it's been 3 months since he showed up to class. And I also find out through classmates that share more classes with him that he hasn't been to school at all in those past 3 months. Suddenly, just as fast as he disappeared, he showed up at the lunch table, but without the Magic the Gathering deck, and clearly a bit down. I asked him what was up and where he's been. Me: where have you been, man? I haven't seen you for months. Kevin: my grades dropped and my mum's got angry at me, so they took most of my stuff and left me with only my bed, a blanket, a desk, a chair, and I have to get a backpack check for all of my work when I walk through the door. I was just happy that he was alright, so I said it sucks and I'm sorry to hear that he's going through that. I go about my day and I get to the last period of the day and my favorite class, and I notice that Kevin is missing from my class. I ask if anyone has seen him, and I was told that Kevin was expelled right after lunch for trying to steal a laptop from the computer lab's mobile cart. It's here that everyone in the class finds out why Kevin was gone for 3 months before. Kevin had wanted one of the laptops from the computer lab, and so we hatched the plan to grab a laptop from the cart and stash it in his backpack, sneak home, and then he'd have his laptop. His method of getting into the computer lab was that he paper jammed the door and made it unable to lock. From this, he then gets in easily and quietly before snatching a laptop. He got away scot-free and had his laptop, but in his haste to secure his new laptop, Kevin forgot to grab the charger. Kevin showed up the next day after stealing the laptop and paper jammed the door again and went to get his charger. This is where Kevin's plan fell apart. Kevin grabbed the charger cord and started trying to rip it free of the metal cart on wheels, and in turn started banging the cart against the wall over and over, creating a loud banging noise into the library just next door. After freeing the cable, broken mind you, Kevin was met by the face of our campus police officer standing in the doorway. He had brought the stolen laptop with him, and that was enough to get Kevin suspended for 3 months. It was after this that his first day back, he was in lunch with me, and after leaving, Kevin had gone straight to the computer lab again. Here is where no one knows the actual story, but everyone in class found out by the next day. The class started going wild with theories and guesses. The most commonly accepted answer is that our favorite teacher was waiting in the computer lab, and Kevin kicked open the door to proudly stride into the room and claim dominion over the entire computer lab, and then be suddenly attacked by a sword from our teacher. A duel as they battle over the cart, with a conflict leading out into the hole, disarming one another before being disarmed and arrested, before being put into the Michael duffel bag to replace the old skeleton. This was a joke about the weightlifting bag that weighed 90 pounds. What actually happened was probably the resource officer being on standby near the computer lab, but as 16 to 19-year-olds, we all couldn't resist making the dumb story in our heads be the reality that we thought it was, and that was that. We never saw Kevin again. Personally, I hope Kevin wisened up and is doing well in life. Edit: reading over this again, I realised if Kevin wasn't lying about the backpack check, he would have instantly been caught at the front door even if he got away with the laptop. Yeah, like the top comment says. No, I'm going with the sword fighting story. Yeah, same. That's definitely what happened. But yeah, hopefully they're doing good. The next one is called My Grandma Reminds Me a Bit of a Kevin. I'm not sure if this is the right subreddit for this story, but it's the first thing I thought of after it happened. Alright, so my grandma has always been a bit odd. Great cook, knows a fair bit about plants, can keep nearly anything alive, even if she knows nothing about it, but generally quite oblivious in everyday life. Today, as she was picking me up, she complained that she had a hangnail. I told her, no problem, I've got some nail clippers in my purse. She cringes, but shows me her finger and the little hangnail along the side of her nail. This is gonna hurt, isn't it? She mutters when showing me. I'm a little confused by this, but nonetheless, I get the clipper so I can snip off the little piece. Oh, this is gonna hurt. You just clipped it? She asks me. I nod. What else would I do? I ask her. How do you deal with hangnails? She stares blankly and tells me, I rip them out. I stare back. You what? This 72-year-old woman has just been ripping her hangnails right out. She explains that she takes a pair of tweezers and pulls them out whenever she notices one. She tried to rip that one out earlier, but she couldn't get it because it hurt. I was shocked, and I explained to her that you can just clip them off, so then they don't catch on anything and they'll go away. If they come back, just clip some more off. She said she'll do that next time. I'm still in disbelief. Yeah, literally, the top comment, bless her lol. But I'm sure stuff like this is so common, like always doing something a certain way without even thinking about it. And then when somebody else does it and it makes a lot more sense the way they do it, you're like, oh yeah. What have I been doing my entire life? Okay, the last story for today is called My Dad the Kevin. I've been considering posting this for a while, over a year as a matter of fact. I suppose now is the right time to finally get around to it. I've known my entire life that my dad is a Kevin. Now, usually when you read stories about Kevins, you kind of get the impression that those Kevins are well-meaning doofuses who are trapped in worlds that they don't really understand or comprehend. But I've always thought if you dig down underneath the incompetence, you'd find somebody with a heart of gold. That's not my dad. My dad's an a-hole. Thankfully, he's an incompetent a-hole. But you know what they say about incompetent a-holes? Not only are they a-holes, but they get poop everywhere too. Anyway, I'm not going to go on about my dad's awful personality. You'll see parts of it, but if I laid out all the horrible crappy things he's done, we'd be here all day, and that would probably be better off posted in a rant or true off my chest subreddit. You came here to laugh, so let's make with the funny. In no particular order, I present the greatest hits from my dad the Kevin. Once had a barbecue on the 4th of July. He then chucked the hot coals into his apartment's dumpster. The dumpster caught on fire. The fire department had to come and put it out. Kevin lied and said he saw nobody else do it. Years later, Kevin bought a mobile home. Kevin decided to decorate his trailer with Christmas lights. He decided to string a giant circle along the front of the trailer and then put a Christmas tree design inside it. Kevin got bored while doing the Christmas tree and stopped. The end result was the front of our mobile home looked like it had some sort of malformed pentagram draped across the front. People would slow down and take pictures of our satanic Christmas tree lights. Kevin was too lazy to take down the Christmas decorations, and so we look like a house full of bizarre Satanists for literal years. Kevin once went to a hotel and suddenly decided that he really wanted to know what an elevator shaft looked like, forced open the doors to an elevator while waiting in the hallway, which caused the elevator to jam. Somebody was inside, and Kevin was asked to leave the hotel. Kevin really wanted to be rich, but Kevin also didn't want to put any work into becoming rich. Kevin spent the majority of his paychecks when he was working on multi-level marketing schemes. Kevin had storage units full of unsold MLM crap. Most eventually got donated to thrift stores, and the thrift stores couldn't even sell it. Kevin really liked amateur radio, like a lot. Kevin would not shut up about amateur radio. Kevin lost friendships because he would threaten to not be friends with somebody unless they got their amateur radio license. One time Kevin decided to fix his hot water heater. Kevin flooded his garage. His garage was full of MLM crap. Kevin had to move all of his MLM crap out into the driveway to keep it from flood damage. Kevin did this right as a rainstorm started. Kevin lost a lot of MLM crap. Kevin spent most of my childhood unemployed. When I was 12, I managed to network through some friends and their parents to get my dad a job at an HVAC place, which is pretty impressive for a 12-year-old, I gotta say. Kevin fell off a ladder on the first day of work, went to the emergency room for ibuprofen, and then no-called and no-showed the next. He did not hold a job for another 2 years. Kevin is a weather nut. His favorite channel is the Weather Channel. Kevin once got excited about a storm and started screaming to anybody that would listen that it was coming right for us. The storm was hitting California. We live in Florida. We once had a tornado warning in effect while having dinner at my grandmother's house. Kevin screamed at me to get downstairs and die with the rest of the family. Kevin then decided that we needed to die at home, so we loaded the entire family into the car and made us cross town during an active tornado warning. Kevin really likes, you know what? In the early 2000s, Kevin discovered Kazaa and downloaded a bunch of it to the family computer. Kevin did not know how to change the file names, so we told the entire family that the desktop file entitled Oral Blank was Jump by Van Halen. When I found out that that was actually not Jump by Van Halen and confronted him, Kevin said that it was homework for the abnormal psychology class that he was taking at the college. Although Kevin took a psychology course, he did not trust therapists. He became angry with me when he found out that I was interested in psychology and made me promise to not become a psychologist because, quote unquote, they don't make any money. Kevin spent $400 for a giant shortwave radio receiver. Kevin put the radio in the middle of the dining room table and insisted that we eat in silence while we listened to Radio Havana, Cuba. He said that this was family bonding. Mum disagreed. Kevin is white. Kevin had a black co-worker. Said that the co-worker was complaining one day because he felt like he was being discriminated against. Kevin told his co-worker that he too understood systematic racism on the grounds that he's short. Kevin's co-worker was not amused. It took Kevin 9 years to get a bachelor's degree. He kept on changing majors and dropping classes. When Kevin realized that I was going to get my bachelor's degree before he did, he tried to bribe me into dropping out of school so he could graduate first. Seeing his son get his bachelor's before he did finally put a boot in Kevin's ass, and he got serious about graduating. He went to a student counselor and found found out what program he had the most credits in so that he could hurry up and graduate his subsequent degree program, psychology. Kevin decided that I needed a girlfriend. Kevin signed me up for several online dating sites while pretending to be me. Kevin messaged multiple younger women using my profile. Oh my god, mum was not amused. I joined the army after college. I gave my mother power of attorney over my car when I was deployed to South Korea. Kevin decided that he would drive my car once a week in order to keep the battery running. Kevin started using my car as his daily commute. He added tens of thousands of miles to the odometer. Kevin decided to put a new stereo in my car for my birthday while I was deployed. He emailed me photos of him listening to the radio in my car. Kevin did not renew the tags on my car. I found this out the hard way when I came home on leave and started driving around with expired tags. When I went to go look for my registration, I also learned that Kevin had started keeping his guns in my car. And after I went back to Korea, Kevin decided to spread the love of amateur radio to my car. He installed a 2-meter transceiver and mounted an antenna. I was not amused. Kevin then sold my car. He did this without even seeing if I wanted to sell my car. I didn't. I barely got to listen to the radio he got me for my birthday. Kevin was mystified when I made him give me the money for illegally selling my car while I was deployed. Kevin pouted for a week because he had plans for the money. Oh god, this is so frustrating. Kevin spent 20 grand on a giant corrugated steel shed. The shed was almost as big as his mobile home. Kevin did not have the tools to assemble his giant shed. His shed sat there semi-completed until a hurricane knocked it down. Kevin got caught having a registered email address on file during the Ashley Madison data leak. Kevin claimed that he was just curious. Kevin spent 3 grand buying a gigantic illuminated electronic map for his amateur radio room. The electronic map broke after 3 days. Kevin spent another $1,500 fixing it, and it broke after 2 weeks, and then Kevin threw it away. I started a master's program after I got out of the army. This made Kevin want to get a master's too. He signed up for a full course load of master's level courses, bought all of his textbooks, and then dropped all the classes, and did it again the next year. Kevin decided to start a real estate business. He even got as far as getting an LLC and shopping for commercial property to start his newfound business empire. Kevin's plans came to a halt when he found out that he needed a real estate license in order to be a realtor. Kevin asked me for startup money so that he could get his real estate license. I declined. Kevin told me that I could be his business partner and quoted Darth Vader's line about "Join me and we'll rule the galaxy as father and son." I declined harder. Kevin got fired from his job for having, you know what, on his work computer. When Kevin was called into HR to discuss it, he said that it was tasteful body art. HR did not agree. Kevin, however, did say that he was sharing his tasteful body art with somebody via email. They got fired too. Kevin asked a senior layperson in the church if he could get him a new job. This older gentleman agreed, provided that Kevin gave a list of references. Kevin got a phone call 2 days later informing him that there was no job and that Kevin should never talk to him again. This made church awkward. Kevin got a new job lined up that was paying twice as much as the job that he'd gotten fired from. They bought him a ticket and gave him a moving allowance. Kevin didn't go to the airport and lost his new job. Kevin managed to get another job after that debacle, which resulted in him and his wife moving across the country. Kevin's wife had to ship their cat via an aeroplane to their new home and told Kevin to go get the cat from the airline's cargo terminal. Kevin instead went to the passenger terminal, went to the bar and waited for the cat to disembark itself. Kevin got drunk while waiting for the cat to come to the baggage claim. In the meantime, the cargo terminal called my mum and wanted to know when Kevin was going to come get the cat, which was in another building across the airport. And since Kevin couldn't drive, mum made him pay for a taxi. Kevin whined that this would never have happened if the cat had just gotten off the plane like he was supposed to. This resulted in mum screaming at him over the phone in a 4-way call with the cargo terminal personnel. "And what the hell did you expect the cat to do, Kevin? Call you to collect?" She wasn't happy when I laughed. Unsurprisingly, Kevin lost that job too. Kevin asked me to help him find a job. He wanted to get a job in psychology because he's got a bachelor's in psychology and they're supposed to make good money. I nearly chewed my tongue off. Kevin got fired from Lowe's because he let a customer drive the hydraulic lift. It's Homer Simpson. Kevin is in trouble with the IRS. Kevin forgot where he parked. Kevin called the police and reported his car as stolen. Kevin's car was sitting in impound for being next to a hydrant. The thing that finally ended Kevin's marriage is when he got caught messaging a Craigslist sex worker by his wife on her birthday. Kevin was using a prepaid debit card to pay for the prostitute liaison. He got the gift card as a Christmas present. The card declined. The sex worker was not amused. Kevin sent a picture of his, you know what, to entice her into having the horizontal mumbo for free. She declined even harder. After Kevin's wife left, he drove to another city to look for her. He spent a week sleeping in his car and hanging out at random condos. Kevin did not find his wife, and she wants to keep it that way. That all happened some years ago, but in the meantime, Kevin has been diagnosed with dementia, although we're all pretty sure that all of Kevin's exploits, which span some 40 years, were all him. Some people think Kevin is now faking his dementia in an attempt to get out of the consequences of his actions. My response? It's the first time that Kevin would have been successful at anything, so I just don't see that happening. So yeah, anyway, that's my dad, a terminal Kevin. Whoa, that was unbelievable. That was so good, but so horrifying all at the same time. The bit about how they were waiting for the cat to get off the plane, hilarious. And yeah, genuinely like a real life Homer Simpson in all the bad ways. And yeah, I feel like that's a good place to leave today's episode, guys. Definitely wholesome memes time. Friendly reminder, Winnie the Pooh wore crop tops with no pants, ate his favorite food, and loved himself. You can too, babe. Yeah, damn right. And also, how adorable are the old Winnie the Pooh cartoons? Like, even the art style of it is so nostalgic. I guess it's time that we stopped having adventures. I don't think so. You're right. I suppose raising her will be its own kind of adventure. No, I mean, she looks pretty light. I think I can carry her when we go on adventures. Yeah, what are you talking about? We're not going to stop going on adventures. That's so cute, and I'm also pretty sure I've read this before, but it's okay. Dinos and comics are so good. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure to inform you that after 2 years of knowing me, one of my brother's cats finally let me pet him. Oh, that's so cute. You finally got accepted. That's so awesome and definitely worth celebrating. And once again, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you had a wonderful time. And if you did and you want to see more stories about Kevin, make sure you like and subscribe. And the comment of the day today goes to Mage1439. Every time this subreddit comes up in a video, I get a little bad feeling in my gut. The wholesome meme part at the end is never more needed than in a nice guy video. Yeah, and sometimes I feel like it's not even enough. Usually the wholesome memes can sort of counteract all the horrifying content in the episode, but I don't really feel like that's enough in a nice guy episode. But yeah, even though it was terrifying, I hope you still had a good time. And yeah, guys, I hope you had a good time today. That was so nice to read something that was a little bit more happy and sort of laid back. Got another adventure planned for tomorrow, and I hope to see you then. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!